Alright folks, welcome to hell. Okay, so we're going to go through this, and the idea being I'm making this video so you can refer back to it when you are working on your own, so you don't have to be constantly asking for help. So here we go. So what I'm going to do, start a new composition. We're using the Rocky clip, so I'm just going to call it Rocky. I'm going to save it. Then I am going to go to the desktop where I have saved the Rocky clip from Teams. So I've got it here. I'm going to drag that into the composition, plop like that. So first thing I need to do is I need to find a section of this clip where Rocky is nice, big, chunky, and he's a solid sort of shape, so that he's basically easier to cut around. So I'm just going to drag it along. Let's find it. We'll use, let's say, there's a nice clip along here. We'll try this one with Rocky when he does the bench press, but what I'm going to do, I want it when it's down like that. So he's a nice sort of easy shape to cut out. There is a little window here with the backdrop, so we'll have to deal with that later. But for now, let's use this, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add an end point to this clip. So let's just put that there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit Alt on the keyboard, and then I'm going to hit the right square bracket. So if you look where the sort of the enter is on the keyboard, it's the one to the left of that. Or if you find the P, it's P, then left square bracket, and then right square bracket. So I'm going to hold Alt, right square bracket, and if you look, it's trimmed the clip from that point sort of onwards. So let's go find the start of this clip. So I'm just going to go back, and we'll start it sort of from there. That's nice. Brilliant. So we'll use that. So Alt and then left square bracket, pow. So I've got rid of the beginning and end, so I'm just going to drag that to the start of my little sequence just to make it easier to find. And then I'm going to just mute the clip. See this little mute button here? I'm going to mute it so I don't have to deal with the song, because I'm going to be watching this over and over and over again. I don't want to have to deal with the music, okay? Now I'm going to bring in my little workspace to the end of this clip, and I'm going to bring in my zoom. So I'm only working with about 10 frames here. What I will do, there we go. So I'm just going to make sure that's all nice and aligned. Let's get my blue line so I can see where it is. There we go. In fact, actually, I'm going to bring it just one frame back, because if you look, he's starting to lift the barbell again. I want it to be where it's nicely at the bottom. So let's just do that. Let's bring that along, match that up, and I'll match that up there as well. Okay, so that's where we're at. So first thing I'm going to do, because we need a freeze frame, okay, is I am going to duplicate this layer. So I'm going to click on the name. You've always got to click on the name if you want to affect that layer. I'm going to right click on it. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to Command C, Command V. All right. So this second layer that I've done, I'm going to lock the first layer first of all, so I don't accidentally move it. So a little padlock section there. I've just locked it off. This layer here, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to press Enter, and I'm going to rename it as Freeze Frame. You need to rename these layers. If I double click it by accident, so if I double click it there, one thing you might notice is it opens a little second window up here. So you've got your composition, which is the bit that when we're playing with it, and then you've got this bit here that's a second layer. So if that happens, just close it off. All right, but that happens if you double click on a specific layer, it'll open a new window up here in the sort of the viewing area. All right, so just be aware of that. So I'm going to click on the freeze frame layer. We're going to get this to a point where I want it to stop. So here, I'm going to right click on it, I'm going to go to time, and then I'm going to click freeze frame. Pow. So that layer now is frozen. So if you watch, I'm dragging my little time backwards and forwards. It's a frozen layer. So I'm actually going to move that now on. And hopefully what should happen, if I just extend this little workspace now, because we've got that freeze frame, we probably won't use all of this freeze frame, but I'm just keeping it there for now. So if I play this, it should stop. There, you see how it's frozen? Brilliant. So I've got my freeze frame on a layer, I've got my original footage on a layer. But what I need now is we need to go, ba-bum, we need to go in. Okay, we need to sort of jump, zoom, all right? So let's just do that. So I'm going to go freeze, bump, bump. So we'll think that's about how long we want it to be. So let's zoom in. Let's put some keyframes in, okay? So we're going to open up, wrong button. So we're going to close and then reopen, and I want to go to transform, and then we're going to put a keyframe in. We'll say about here for the position and scale. So that's my keyframe for there. So let us increase the size. So we're going to zoom in on Rocky, and we'll drop him down a little bit like that. Let's see what that looks like now, just from the start. So you see how it's kind of, poof, we've gone in, all right? So let's do it again. So we're going to do that. In fact, actually what we'll do, let's leave that as it is. We're going to duplicate this freeze frame layer so that the next layer, it's still frozen, but we're even closer, okay? So Command C, Command V, it's called freeze frame 2. I'm happy enough with that name. I'm not going to change it. Let's just trim this clip so that the second sort of scale happens there. So you can see we're along the bottom, we've got the normal image that moves. We've got the freeze frame that zooms in, and then this second freeze frame is going to jump even closer. Okay, so I'm going to expand this one. I'm going to go to transform. I'm going to go to scale, and we'll just bring it in a little bit closer, but Rocky's sort of, we're starting to crop him off a bit. So again, I'm just going to alter my position, and let's see what happens there. So let's just play that. So it goes boom, boom. Fantastic. That's not really quick enough for my purposes. So let's just bring that along. So it's just a little bit quicker. And we'll just play that again. Boom, boom. That'll do me. I'm not in a big rush. All right. So now we need to, I'm just going to lock those layers off. I am not changing them. I'm happy with where they're at. We're just going to lock so I don't accidentally move them or anything daft like that. So now we need to mask it off. Okay, so let's just duplicate this layer. So I'll need to unpadlock it, unlock it. I'm just going to Command C, Command V. This one though, because I'm going to mask it off, I'm going to call it mask. Okay, this is where I'm going to draw around Rocky and we're going to isolate just him. Okay, so I'm going to lock freeze frame 2 off. I'm going to click on mask layer, and then at the top here, we're going to click pen. Like that. So all I'm going to do now, I want you guys to be a lot more specific and close. You can zoom in by pressing Command and plus, and you can really go to town on it. I'm just going to do this very quickly, just to sort of show you. So I'm going around his hair. All I'm doing is with the pen tool, I'm just clicking around it. I'm going to roughly draw him out. This is why it's really useful to make sure it's a solid, chunky outline. So I've gone a bit close on his nose there, but that's fine. We can work that out later. In fact, actually, I could probably move that there. So let's keep going. Good old Sly Stallone. Look at his craggly features with his big sort of chin and his veiny old man neck. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, barbell. That's a nice straight line. Drop down a bit. And do you know what? We'll go down. We'll go around here. Off, and then I just go to the corner, and then I can go make a solid shape. Yeah, so now I've got my mask. What that means is, and if you look here, I can unhide everything else. He should be sort of isolated there. Oh, make sure I've got the mask selected, so let's try that. That should be just him. Brilliant. Let's open that up. We'll click mask. So I've got my mask. And I should be able to sort of expand the mask a little bit and reduce the mask. Don't understand why it's not letting me sort of hide it. Let's get rid of one of them. Alright, we need to finish this mask off then, don't we? Oh, it's 2 separate masks. Okay, so we're going to start again. Let's make it all one big shape. So pow, we'll start and do the hard bits or the quick bits. Again, so what happened there is I must have made, by sort of finishing one, I've made 2 separate masks, and it was a little bit confuddled as to what I was doing. Hopefully by doing it this time, I am keeping it as one mask. And it just means we get to stare at Sly Stallone's lovely face a little bit longer. Bang. So now that should be the same mask. So if I hide the layer under there, you can see. So now that I'm hiding the layer underneath, you can see that we've kind of isolated his face. So mask layer, it's just him. So you see, like I've hidden all the other layers, the background is gone. It's just Sly Stallone's face that we've got now. So this is where we start having fun. So again, I'm going to lock that layer off. That's not moving. I'm done with it now. All right, and I'm going to reduce it down. That's it. So let's just play where we're at. So it comes down, frozen, zoom. Brilliant. Yeah? So we've got the frozen layer. And the reason why we're keeping that second freeze frame layer is so that the background sort of stays the same, because we're going to put a yellow shape between Stallone and the background. But we need that background there, otherwise it goes all skew-iff and funny. So I'm just going to put this back onto the move tool, because at the minute I've still got the pen tool. I'm just going to click the move tool, pow. Brilliant. So now we need to add a new sort of a shape, a solid sort of yellow layer, because I'm going to use yellow. In fact, you know what? Let's use red, because that might be quite cool. We'll use red. So I'm going to go to layer at the top, I'm going to go new, we're going to go solid. Okay, bang. So now it's going to ask for the colour. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool. I'm going to find that shade of red. Pow. And you can see it matched it. So I'm going to click like that. Brilliant. Now, oh my God, we've lost everything. That's because my deep red is above everything else. All right, so what I'm going to do, we're going to drop deep red, and I'm doing that by clicking the name. If I click anywhere else, it won't work. I'm going to click the name, drag that under the mask. So now I've got Stallone, then I've got my red, and I've got nothing else. But I need to make this sort of translucent, okay? So what I'm going to do, if I go to layer, I'm going to go to blending mode, and I'm going to go to soft light. So now you can see it sort of made the background red. So if I hide it, you can see like the difference. Yeah? So it makes the background red. What I might actually do, because I'm not overly happy with that colour, I don't think it's making that much of a difference. Let's see if we can change the colour. So I've got deep red. You see how I double clicked on deep red there and it's opened up in a new layer? I don't want that. Let's go in and we can see if we can change it. I'll click on this little red section here. No, that's the wrong one. In fact, you know what? Let's just sack that layer off. I'm not happy with it. So we're just going to delete it. We're going to go to layer. We're going to go to new. We're going to go to solid. We've got the red, but let's just up the brightness a little bit. So I used that red as a starting point, but now I've just dragged a little dripper. Let's make it a little bit brighter. So yep, that's happy. It's there. We'll drag that down. We're going to click layer. We're going to go to blending mode, and we're going to go soft light. I'm a little bit happy with that because now I can see the background. Okay. So that's where we're at there. So let's leave that where it is. So now what we want that to just appear. So we want that to appear when Stallone freezes. So that's just a matter of finding the deep red layer, and I'm just going to resize it so that it sort of happens when we want this to happen. So this bit, I'm going to hopefully press Alt and right bracket just to trim it without having to go and find the end. So I've trimmed that there. So now let's just drag that so it matches. We'll bring that in so it matches as well. We're just sort of resizing the clips. It doesn't really want to do that, but that's fine. So we'll just resize that bit there as well. So let's play it. So hopefully now it should go boom, freeze frame, and then the background's going to go red. Bang. Yeah, so it's worked. So now what we need to do, we need to have sort of the brighter bar. We're going to keyframe that in so it comes kind of swooshing in. We'll do it from, I don't know, we'll say from right to left. And then we're going to have Rocky Balboa come in from left to right. So we need to add a new shape. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to lock off that red layer. Don't want to move it. I'm happy with it. Let's add a new layer. So we're going to go to layer, new, and we're going to add a shape. All right. So my fill, we're going to make it red again, but let's make it like a nice bright red. So there we go. I'm happy with that. So all I did is I moved a little colour, moved it up to red. I mean, you can use whatever colour you like. I'm just keeping, I like to use two different shades of the same thing. So we're going to click OK. And then it's going to want me to put the shape in. Currently, it's on a star. That's really, oh no, there you go. So I'm going to drag my line in. It doesn't matter if it's over the top of everything. I'm just resizing it for now. I've got my little shape tool. It was already selected. I'm just going to change this to the selection tool now, just so I can resize this thing. Not bothered that it's going off the other side, and I'm not bothered that it's over Stallone because we're going to drop that down in the layers on the left hand side. So happy with that as it is. Oh, got a horrible yellow outline. That's rank. Going to click up here where it says stroke, and we're just going to adjust that so it's the same shade of red. Now I can only guarantee that really by getting the hash code. So I'm going to click OK for now. We're going to go to this fill. I'm going to copy this little code here. Command C. OK, going to go to the stroke, Command V. Now that should be the exact shade. All right, so there, so I haven't got like a horrible outline. So I'm going to leave that where it is, but let's rename it. So shape layer, I'm just going to call it red rectangle. It's just for you can call it whatever you like. I'm just using that because I know what it is now. Red rectangle, and I'm actually going to change the little label, so the little tag, to red. It makes sense because it's my red rectangle. So now I've got my red rectangle. Because I'm not happy with where that is, I'm going to put that under my mask. So now it's underneath Stallone. Can you see it? So now we need to keyframe that in so that it comes in, swooshing in as quickly as possible. So what we'll do, I'm just going to go to the end of this shot so that I've got my keyframe there. Let's expand red rectangle. We're going to go into transform. I'm gonna, that's where I want it to end, so that's fine for me. So I'm gonna go position and scale, just gonna leave it where it is. Then I'm gonna bring this back to the start of the clip. We'll see, yeah, we'll bring it at the same time that the red comes in. So we'll start it there. So let's just use the move tool, and I'm gonna just drag it off screen. And I'm only gonna have it just slightly off screen so that when it starts moving from here. So now if we play that, what should happen is Stallone's going to drop the barbell, he's going to freeze, he's going to zoom in, and then when it zooms in, that red rectangle is going to come swooshing in from the right. It's probably going to be too slow. That's okay. We can move that and deal with that in a second. But for now, let's just watch it. Boom. So yeah, it is very slow. So let's just speed that up. So what we're going to do, we want it maybe to be fully finished. We'll see here, I want to do it in half the time. So I'm going to just get my little keyframe. We're going to move to this. I'm going to make a note of the position. So 965.40. Let's put that there. And we're just going to go 960. 540. I'm just typing this in because I know where it needs to be. And then we'll go to this next keyframe. So I'm going to use the scale now. So the scale, it's sort of the same. The scale hasn't moved. I haven't changed its size. It's just its position. But let's just go use the little keyframe mover. We're just going to go to that second keyframe because I don't want it anymore. Get rid of it. Don't need it. Bang. Gone. Same with the scale, actually. Screw you. Bang. Gone. So let's have a look. Boom. There. That's a bit quicker. Pow. Loving it. Boof, boof. Love it. Fantastic. So now we need to bring in some text, don't we? So first thing to lock that off. Shut up. We don't need you. Go away. Let's add some text. So there's my text tool. I'm going to just resize it. Let's move the little blue thing so I know where I want it. So there it is. Let's have Rocky above it, and we'll put Balboa in the red. So we're going to have Rocky here. Let's just type that in. So R-O-C-K-Y, Rocky. Oh, look at that. Look at that yellow. Love it. Just resize that so it fits. Now that was pure serendipity. I quite like the yellow, but what we're going to do is we're going to make it white. Oh, need to highlight it first. So I've highlighted that. Going to make it white. Bang. So I don't know quite what's happened there. I must have been doing this in a previous life, but I really like that font. That's Phosphate if anybody wants it. But if I didn't like it, I could use the drop-down menu. I can go and find a different one. All that lovely stuff. I could even get one from the internet if I wanted to, and I could install that so it was the official Rocky font. I'm not going to. But let's get the move tool. And all I'm going to do is use the arrow keys just to get Rocky like a millimetre above the red line, just so I'm happy with that position. Okay? And we'll say that's, well, I don't know, I'm happy enough with that probably to come in at the same time, So, yeah, I want Rocky to be there when the red line gets there. So I've moved, all I've done, I've used the page up, page down tool, which if you look above the actual arrows, you've got a diagonal left arrow, a diagonal down right arrow, but then there's an up down arrow. That's what you use to go key like a frame forward at a time. So I'm going to use the frame tool to get myself to the exact point I want. So this is the point I want the words to be there. Let's go into Rocky. Let's go into transform. I want position, because I'm not going to change the scale. I'm happy with the scale. Going to change the position. There's my keyframe. I'm going to go back. And to be honest, actually, we could probably bring Rocky in probably here, because we can't see the, if I go forward a frame, you can't see the red arrow, like the red box until there, can you? So we'll start Rocky moving here. So I'm just going to get my move tool, and I'm going to move Rocky just off screen, trying to keep it level, just so he's slightly off. Brilliant. So now what should happen when I play it, Rocky will come swooshing in at the same time that the red arrow does. Boom. Love it. Boom. Yeah, it's working. So, happy with that. Let's lock Rocky off. Fantastic. We'll get back to where we need to be. We're going to put a new text layer in. This time, going to make it bigger if I can. So it fills the frame. We'll make it that big maybe. And I'm going to go Balboa. Yeah? Balboa. But this time, I want that a little bit bigger, don't I? Because I want that to fill the red. So what I'm going to do, let's go to my font size here, and let's just increase the font size till I'm happy with how big it is. That looks to be about right for me, but obviously I need to resize this window, so we'll just resize that window. I'm happy with the fact that that is going to sort of go behind his head. I'm okay with that. Because we could always keep it where it is so it's in front of him. We'll deal with that in a second. So I'm just going to click off, get on the move tool. Let's just use my arrows. In fact, I'll do it roughly just by eye first. Do you know what? I think I've hit there, and I think because I've got the snapping tool on at the top here, there's my snapping tool. Because I've got that, it's automatically sort of putting it in between the two. So I'm just going to use my arrow keys to get that roughly where I want it. Love it. So let's keyframe this off. So Rocky is nice and locked. Balboa is not though. So let's go into Balboa. Let's go into transform. I'm going to lock the position because that's where I want it to be. But just like with Rocky, I don't want it to move until there. So we're going to put that. In fact, actually, because it's coming in with the red, what I'll do actually, let's go right back to the start of that red clip. And we're going to move Balboa off the screen. So got the move tool, going to keep Balboa, we're just going to move you off the screen so that it matches where the red line is, and it's not going to come in until then. So let's play that now. So it's keyframed that in, so hopefully what's going to happen is Rocky's going to do his bench press, he's going to freeze, he's going to zoom in, and then the red's going to appear, the line's going to appear, Rocky will come in from the right, Balboa will come in from the left, but at the minute Balboa is above everything else. Let's see what that looks like. Boom, boom, bang. Brilliant. Bang. Yep, I'm happy enough with that. Let's lock that off, but let's see what it looks like when we put it under the mask. Oh, because I've locked it, it won't let me move it. That's good. Let's drag it under the mask, but it's above the red rectangle. See what that looks like now, just for a bit of option. Can't really see Balboa, can you? Nah, it doesn't work. I think it's going to look better above. It's not perfect when it's above, but just for the sake of argument, it looks okay, doesn't it? Pow. Yeah, I think the key thing is, though, when you're putting your font on as well, make sure that when it stops, like you've got a couple of seconds to read it, because you don't want to have it just appear and then stop. That's that, really. So now all I need to do, I'm going to go to File, because I'm done. I'm happy with that. That's okay. That's good. It only took us about 1,000 years. So I'm going to go to Export, and then I'm going to go to Add to Media Encoder Queue, and then when I export it, I'm going to export it as a H.264, 1080p high quality, and then I'm going to put that onto my OneNote, and I'm going to annotate. Good luck, Godspeed. I hope this goes well for you.